President Trump is set to give remarks with Georgia Governor Brian Kemp in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene as Vice President Harris campaigns in battleground Michigan today. It comes as former President Obama is preparing to hit the campaign trail for Harris and Walz next week. And Elon Musk says he'll be at Trump's rally tomorrow in Butler, Pennsylvania, where the former president was nearly assassinated in July. ABC News White House correspondent Katherine Travers joins me now, along with ABC News senior reporter Katherine Faulders for more. Katherine, you talk to radio hosts across the country every day. What are they saying about Liz Cheney campaigning for Harris?
Diane, there was a lot of interest in this endorsement from former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, and anchors were remarking about how this would have been unthinkable just a couple of years ago. But of course, Liz Cheney has been a fierce critic of former President Donald Trump. She was chair of the January 6th investigation committee, and now she says she is voting for the first time in her life for a Democrat. Diane, it is one thing to say that you are supporting Vice President Harris and the Democratic ticket. It's another to get out there on the campaign trail and actively say that and talk so strongly about why she is against Donald Trump. She says he is a threat to democracy and that right now this republic, as she put it, faces a threat unlike anything this country has ever seen before. Vice President Harris also talked about that message, saying that Donald Trump should be disqualified from ever being president again because of his refusal to accept the election results from 2020, which he did again yesterday during his campaign rally in the neighboring battleground state of Michigan. Diane, she also got a big endorsement yesterday from musician Bruce Springsteen, who, of course, not a big surprise there. He's a supporter of Democratic candidates in the past, but he was also echoing that same message of Liz Cheney, saying that to him, Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in his lifetime. He also talked about the threat that he feels Donald Trump represents to this nation's democracy.
And Katherine, Elon Musk says he'll be there for Trump's return to Butler, Pennsylvania after the assassination attempt there in July. How significant is his support?
Look, I don't know how significant Musk's support is in terms of pulling in those demographics, those voter demographics that Trump is trying to win over here. I mean, look, in terms of his influence of getting Trump back on Twitter, he's a big donor, a big influencer in that way, but he's a controversial figure in his own right. A lot of the same controversial opinions and statements that Trump makes, he makes. So he has a following, for sure, a big following, but I don't really think it broadens Trump's following at all to really have an impact in November, but we'll see.
And Karen, former President Obama will be hitting the campaign trail next week for Harris. He and Michelle Obama are arguably the biggest names in the Democratic Party. So what message is he bringing to voters?
Diane, he is going to be traveling to the Pittsburgh area of that critical battleground state of Pennsylvania next week, which will be the start of what we expect to be a significant campaign blitz over the final 4 weeks of this election season. I think his message will be very similar to what we heard him give in the Democratic National Convention, when he talked about how Donald Trump is not staying awake late at night thinking about everyday Americans' problems. But he says Vice President Harris is, and she will look out for you. I also think this message from the former president and his whole point of being out there on the trail is to rev up voters, to say, get out there, do the hard work, get out and vote, knock on doors, and talk to your neighbors and friends who maybe have been feeling kind of unenthusiastic about this campaign. Get them out there and make sure they're voting as well.
Katherine, ultimately, do big endorsements and support from big aides like this make a difference in voting?
Look, I think ultimately we'll have to see what the polls say, but I do think that they can, especially obviously on the Harris side when we're talking about these big Democratic names in the party like former President Barack Obama, Michelle Obama. I think those are names that could have an impact. We always talked about when is Obama going to hit the campaign trail, when is he going to be out there for Kamala Harris. So again, we'll have to see if it moves the needle at all, but I do think that it could potentially have an impact, yes.
All right, Katherine Travers, Katherine Faulders, thank you.